Hello everyone, welcome back to Unveiling Mythical Legends. Today we're going to dive deep into a chilling and mysterious story that still sends shivers down the spine and makes people tremble to this day. This is the terrifying legend of the Goatman, which shook the nation in 1971 in a small town in Maryland, USA. Imagine, hidden in the dark forests, a creature that's half human, half goat, causing not only fear among local residents, but also sending shockwaves through the entire society, sparking debates and panic. Are you ready to uncover this mysterious history with us? Let's step into the spine-tingling tale and get to the bottom of it. Behind the story, there are many astonishing eyewitness accounts and unexplainable phenomena. Are these terrifying rumors true? Why did this place become the birthplace of the Goatman legend? Let's start from the beginning and take you into the eerie forests, where you can feel that bone-chilling cold. In 1971, a quiet small town in Maryland, USA, was rocked by an incredibly mysterious and terrifying event. This incident quickly sent the local residents into panic and sparked nationwide attention. A dark and frightening legend began to quietly rise in people's minds: the Goatman. The name may sound simple, but it is deeply rooted in American urban legends and has stirred countless fears and speculations for decades. It is said that the Goatman is no ordinary monster, but a bizarre entity with the body of both a man and a goat, possessing terrifying powers and a strange appearance. His presence is always associated with dark nights and the shadows of death. The story's origin lies in Prince George's County, Maryland, a suburban area near Washington, D.C., characterized by vast forests, winding rivers, and hidden communities. This region, particularly the northern part of the county, became the hotspot for the Goatman legend. Places like Glendale, Upper Marlboro, Fletcher's Mill Road, and Tucker's Hill Road are all surrounded by dense woods. As night falls, these areas take on an eerie, ominous quality, resembling a mysterious world hidden in darkness. Local residents often say that the night's blackness seems to serve as a natural stage for this strange legend. Every branch in the forest seems to whisper, and every patch of soil by the river hides an unexplained secret. Especially when the wind rustles the leaves, it often makes people glance over their shoulders, as if something is quietly following them. In towns like Glendale and Upper Marlboro, where the remote location fosters a more self-sufficient way of life, residents tend to keep to themselves. The roads and trails in these areas are not only winding and narrow, but often shrouded in the deep cover of the forest, making them eerily dark, particularly in those dense woods where even the starlight struggles to shine through. Many believe it is this very environment that gave birth to the legend of the Goatman. It is said that the Goatman hides deep within these shadowy woods, waiting for any lost or daring adventurer who dares to venture too far. Even the locals avoid walking these trails at night, often reporting an unsettling feeling, as if unseen eyes are watching them from the darkness. Tucker Road, in particular, is a long and narrow stretch bordered by thick forest, casting an oppressive atmosphere over anyone who passes through. When headlights cut through the pitch black, people have claimed to catch eerie glimpses at the edge of their vision, flickers of a shadowy figure lurking among the trees, as if the Goatman is silently observing. These remote and mysterious places, woven tightly with the legend of the Goatman, have become an unsolvable enigma and a lingering shadow in the minds of the local community. The origin of the story didn't erupt overnight, but rather gradually took shape through a series of vague and unsettling sightings. The earliest reports date back to 1957, when residents near Prince George's County, Maryland, claimed to have seen a strange, hairy creature on a dark night near the edge of the forest. According to eyewitnesses, the figure appeared as a shadowy silhouette, lurking and pacing between the trees. They described it as having an unusually large frame, something that seemed to be half human, half beast, radiating a chilling and unnatural presence. Although most of these stories were merely passed down by word of mouth, and lacked concrete evidence to support them. They undoubtedly laid the foundation for the later emergence of the Goatman legend. Over time, these scattered sightings gradually came together to form a complete narrative, and the name Goatman quietly began to circulate within the local community. Many residents started talking about the creature. Although their descriptions varied, they consistently pointed to a hairy, bizarre being that seemed capable of moving silently through the forest at night. While these early reports did not attract widespread attention at the time, the rumors added a chilling dimension to later horror stories and led more people to develop a fear of the forest. It wasn't until 1971 that the Goatman legend truly entered the public eye and became a hot topic in the local community. That year, the Prince George's County News published a report about a pet dog named Ginger who had gone missing and was later found dead. While the article appeared ordinary at first glance, the strange details it contained pushed the Goatman legend into wider discussion. Although Ginger's death was not directly linked to the Goatman, the article subtly tied the two together, injecting the legend with a more realistic and gruesome element. The report mentioned that during Ginger's disappearance, some local teenagers claimed to have heard strange screams coming from the forest late at night, eerie sounds that seemed to come from some inexplicable presence. In addition, eyewitnesses reported seeing a creature resembling the Goatman lurking near the area where Ginger had gone missing. These accounts, both the creature's appearance and the chilling screams, made the entire incident seem all the more real and terrifying. Without a doubt, this report propelled the Goatman legend to its peak. Residents at the time began connecting these events with earlier bizarre sightings, and more people started talking about the frightening creature. Some even came to believe that the Goatman was truly responsible for Ginger's disappearance. The impact of the report was far-reaching, as more and more rumors and stories about the Goatman began to spread, casting the legend's shadow over every corner of the local area. At this point, the Goatman was no longer just a bit of local gossip. It had become part of the community's culture and its collection of horror tales. Whenever night fell, residents couldn't help but recall that article, remember those chilling screams, and even start searching the shadows of the trees for that mysterious figure. Ginger's death unintentionally became the catalyst for the Goatman legend, turning the story into one of the region's most captivating urban myths. Following the publication of the Prince George's County News article about Ginger's disappearance, the Goatman legend spread like wildfire. The article offered a detailed description of the mysterious creature's appearance and emphasized its terrifying features, elements that instantly captured the public's imagination and firmly rooted the legend in local culture. According to the report, the Goatman stood between 6 and 7 feet tall, with a towering and menacing figure covered in thick black fur that radiated an indescribable sense of menace. Its legs resembled those of a goat, ending in sharp hooves, and the sound it made while walking echoed like a beast roaming the wilderness, chilling to anyone who heard it. Even more terrifying was the fact that the creature had a pair of twisted horns on its head, resembling something from an unknown, otherworldly realm. Most chilling of all, the Goatman was said to wield a gleaming axe, its blade glinting coldly under the light of night, as if capable of slicing through anything in its path. This horrifying image instantly evoked thoughts of ancient myths and alien beings, sparking both fear and fascination among the public. In people's imaginations, the figure roamed the forest with a light but powerful stride, each sharp hoofbeat sounding like a harbinger of death. Such vivid depictions naturally drew comparisons to monstrous or mythological figures of old, those mysterious entities that dwelled in darkness and brought disaster wherever they went. From that point on, the name Goatman was no longer just a local rumor. It became a living symbol of terror. Over time, the legend grew even more captivating, with more sightings and bizarre stories being linked together, making the Goatman all the more mysterious and frightening. Whether it was teenagers out at night or wanderers lost in the forest, whether locals or passing travelers, everyone had heard the name, and whenever anyone heard it, a shiver of fear would inevitably run down their spine. However, the Goatman was not simply a monster. Its legend was more complex, filled with violence and aggression. As the story spread, the Goatman gradually evolved into an extremely dangerous entity, imbued with destructive power. According to eyewitnesses, the Goatman would appear at night, silently emerging from the shadows of the forest, like a ghostly figure. What was most alarming, however, was that the Goatman didn't just wander in the darkness. It would actively attack passing vehicles. Drivers often reported hearing a shrill scream or a low, guttural growl, followed by the sight of the towering, menacing figure rapidly approaching. The creature would strike the vehicle with its axe, causing a loud metallic clash that sent the driver into a state of sheer panic. Many described the way the Goatman hacked at the vehicles as that of a berserk warrior, with each swing of its axe filled with destructive power, as though announcing some barbaric ritual. These stories quickly spread throughout the area, transforming the Goatman from merely a strange creature of the forest into a terrifying symbol of aggression and violence. The eyewitness accounts only further distorted and amplified the image of the Goatman, turning it from an oddity of nature into an undeniable force of terror in the minds of the people. Whenever night fell, the image of the Goatman would linger in the minds of the local residents, following them like a shadow. It was said that some people, after witnessing the Goatman's attacks, would never again drive on the roads where the assaults had occurred. The Goatman became a subject of fear on every street corner, a topic of both casual conversation and serious warning. Its name alone was enough to send a chill down the spine, evoking an uneasy feeling that couldn't be shaken. These stories transformed the Goatman legend from a simple strange creature into an urban myth filled with fear, violence, and anxiety. Behind the Goatman legend lies an even more chilling story, one that blends bizarre scientific experiments and adds a layer of Frankenstein-like darkness to the myth. The protagonist of this version is a scientist named Stephen Fright, who conducted a forbidden genetic hybridization experiment at the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. His goal was to combine human and goat genes to create a completely new species. Fright's ambitions were vast, as he sought to push the boundaries of biology and bring about a new future for humanity. However, the experiment ultimately ended in a devastating failure. The genetic fusion did not achieve the desired results, and instead transformed Fright into a half-human, half-goat monster. His body became grotesque, growing hooves and horns like those of a goat, his eyes filled with pain and madness. The failed experiment left him consumed with shame and rage, feelings that quickly turned into a deep hatred for humanity. Driven by anguish and a thirst for revenge, he fled into the forest, away from human society, and began to swing his axe in the darkness of night, attacking any unfortunate pedestrians or vehicles that crossed his path. His violent actions, monstrous in nature, were not only a reaction to his own horrific transformation, but also an extreme act of vengeance against human society. This version of the Goatman legend, using the real-life U.S. Department of Agriculture as its backdrop, brings the story closer to reality, cleverly intertwining the shadow of scientific failure with the Goatman's violent behavior. The story quickly captured the public's attention, prompting people to imagine how a scientist could fall from the pinnacle of knowledge into the abyss of monstrosity. This blend of science, failure, and violence not only added to the mystique of the Goatman legend, but also sparked a new fear about the dangers of humanity's exploration into the unknown. As the Goatman legend gained popularity, local scholars and folklorists began to conduct in-depth research, attempting to unravel the mystery that had long haunted the community. The studies of Professor Barry Pearson, a folklorist at the University of Maryland, and local historian Mark Opus Sasnick, undoubtedly became the focal point of public attention. Professor Pearson, approaching the legend from a folklorist perspective, conducted a detailed analysis of the Goatman story. He believed that the tale was not just a simple monster legend, but rather a profound reflection of the collective psyche and social values of the local residents. For him, the Goatman symbolized humanity's fear of the unknown and remote places, serving as a means of social control over young people, particularly as a warning to stay away from areas hidden with danger. Professor Pearson believed that this warning was not only based on fear of the outside world, but was also closely tied to the local social structure and way of life. At the time, remote forests and shadowy roads were viewed as unsafe places, and the Goatman story served as a reminder for people, especially young people, to avoid venturing into these areas considered dangerous. The legendary Goatman was both a terrifying monster and a symbolic warning, urging everyone to stay away from places that might pose a threat. These stories, in turn, helped to shape social norms, encouraging locals to adhere to unwritten rules, and thus reducing unnecessary risks. Mark Opus Sasnick, the local historian, conducted an in-depth investigation of the Goatman legend from a factual research perspective. He personally experienced the height of the legend's popularity and spent a significant amount of time studying the origins and evolution of this local myth. In his pursuit of the truth, Sasnick began by reviewing local newspaper records, interviewing eyewitnesses, and even conducting field investigations in an attempt to uncover the true nature of the Goatman story. After months of effort, his research revealed that many details about the Goatman, particularly the stories related to Dr. Fright, were actually entirely fictional. This so-called Frankenstein did not exist in the local history, and the rumored genetic experiments and mutation tales were fabricated later to add a more thrilling element to the story. This discovery made the original story of the Goatman even more obscure, as there was no concrete evidence to support the events described by early witnesses. The additional details, especially those involving violence, only appeared in later reports. Mark Opus Sasnick believed that these added details were based on societal fears and media sensationalism, gradually shaping the terrifying Goatman image we know today. He pointed out that the original story was likely just about a few experiences of witnessing strange animals, and these encounters themselves were not that frightening. However, over time, the legend was continuously exaggerated and distorted, eventually evolving into an urban myth filled with violence and horror. From a scientific perspective, researchers generally believe that the terrifying image of the Goatman did not originate from some unknown creature, but rather is the result of various social and psychological factors intertwined. The roots of this legend are closely tied to the local youth culture, particularly the psychological need of teenagers for excitement and group identity, which became a key factor in the Goatman story's popularity. Local young people would often drive to these notorious haunted spots, such as Glendale and Shaw Marlborough, specifically seeking out those heart-pounding, terrifying experiences. For these adventure-seeking teenagers, the Goatman legend undoubtedly became an ideal source of excitement. In those remote forest roads or desolate places, the environment itself was filled with an uneasy atmosphere. With the influence of group psychology, many young people would boast and encourage each other, and even in the tense atmosphere, simple environmental sounds, like the rustling of branches, the low growl of an animal, or even pranks among friends, could easily be mistaken for evidence of the Goatman's presence. This social collective delusion and the effects of group behavior made the Goatman story seem more and more real, with more and more people starting to believe in its existence, even becoming a part of the story themselves. This psychological effect not only strengthened the credibility of the legend, but also made it deeply rooted in the minds of young people. In conclusion, the Goatman legend does not originate from a specific monster, but is the result of a complex interplay of psychological and social factors. It reflects humanity's fear of the unknown and reveals our fascination with the wild and mysterious forces of nature. The attraction to fear among young people, along with their desire to challenge their own limits, has made the Goatman story a part of local culture, passed down through generations. Even today, The truth behind this legend remains uncertain, but as a collective cultural phenomenon, it continues to hold a place in the hearts of the local residents, maintaining an eternal allure. Whether or not the Goatman truly exists, the fear and curiosity it represents continue to capture people's attention, ensuring the story's ongoing spread as part of the area's history and folklore. If you're also captivated by this mysterious Goatman story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss more thrilling and mysterious tales. Also, leave a comment below and let us know what you think about the Goatman legend. Do you believe it's just an urban myth, or could such a creature actually exist? And don't forget to share this video with your friends so everyone can join the discussion about this chilling story. See you next time, and stay tuned for more exciting content.